Salutations, kindred souls. Welcome back to another episode of Lux Martin Enlightenment. I'm Lux, and this channel is about all things enlightenment, not the kind that floats above life, but the kind that you find right smack in the middle of it. So today, I'm finally going to open up that can of worms, and we're going to talk about the twin flame journey. It's a really big deal to me, and it's something I've hidden for a long time, and I'm finally ready to talk about it. I think that my experience is valuable in that I'll say it in a way that somebody needs to hear because no two people will express their twin flame journey the same way. And I'm finally dying to talk about it. So, we're going to start off this topic of twin flames with a short, sweet, to the point video of 10 things that happened to me during my twin flame journey, which is not over, by the way. It's still ongoing. It's just what we call it. Number one, the phrase "it's a journey" pissed me off for so long. Okay, you're going to hear it 1,000 times. It's a journey. The twin flame experience is a journey. And it's going to irritate the piss out of you for a really long time until it stops being so irritating because you're finally ready to accept that, yes, it is a journey. It's quite a long, complicated process that hardly anyone in your life is going to understand. But when you finally are ready to accept that it's a journey that's not a destination, there is no destination at the end, there's no phase, there's no relationship necessarily, there's no end point, but that it becomes a way of life, a way of existence. And when you finally are ready to accept and embody that, it is less irritating to hear that phrase. Number two, my twin and I have gotten together and broken up at least 7 times that I can count of, including getting married and divorced. So, for those of you that need to hear that, you will crash in and blow apart from each other many, many times over. And that was one of the most terrifying things for me about the whole process is how many times is it going to take? How many times am I going to have to lose my person before this stops? And it's terrifying. It truly sucks. It breaks your heart a million times. Like I said, we've gotten together, broken up, at least 7 that I can count of, which includes moving in, moving out, tearing our lives apart, joining them back together, trying new chapters. So yeah, about at least 7 times for me. So hopefully it's not that many for you. But what I will say is that every time we did it, something changed. It wasn't like we got on the exact same merry-go-round because at that point, what are we doing? So I will say take heart and encouragement if that's what you're experiencing, that regardless of how crappy it feels and how terrible it looks from the outside perspective of someone else looking in, if you're doing things a little better or something is changing every go around, that means you're making progress. So hang in there. Number 3, and this is a hard one to admit, and probably one of the main reasons why I didn't talk about it for so long, is that being on this journey made me suicidal a couple times over. There were some pretty close calls that no one really cares to know about or needs to know about, but I will tell you that there were times on this journey where I felt so insane for the things I felt, or I was in so much pain from what was going on in the things I felt, that suicide is seriously contemplated more than once. So I hope that's not anybody else's experience. And I hope that you never choose to do something about that because at the end of the day, you got to believe that you will get through it and the sun will rise again and something new and something more is coming of this. So I totally believe in whoever needs to hear that, that you're not alone in that, and that it will get better. Those dark, dark times are there, unfortunately, but they will cease and they will pass as well. Number 4, the more I talked to my twin, the more I tried to explain myself, the more I tried to fight for the relationship, the more I chased, the slower the progress. And then I started to realize over time that most of that talking till I was blue in the face and having these many, many hour conversations with him of begging and pleading and trying to get him to understand where I'm coming from and why I feel the way I feel, it was more for my external processing out loud. And he was just the only person that happened to be willing to listen. So it seriously slowed his progress. I will say that. So the more I needed to talk, the more turned off and the more disengaged he became. And so at one point, I finally had to just really bite my tongue and shut my mouth about what I was feeling and why I think it was going this way and what I think is about to happen, yada, yada, yada. I had to shut up and let it play out. And I started to realize that the less I said, the more dynamically things moved, changed, even if it meant breaking up and moving out again. Not saying anything and letting it all fall, let the chips fall the way they do, brings new revelations and realizations for your counterpart. Because as you do the work, you stop becoming a chaser, you be comfortable in your own skin with who you are, and yeah, all the things, all the things. Um, he has no choice but to do the same or completely veer off into the ravine of not coming back from this, not wanting to be a part of this. So, and I don't know where mine's headed at this point, but I know that the more I said, the slower it went, and it was more for me. And the less I said, the more things changed. I'm thinking and hoping and believing that's more for my person. Number 5, I felt and still feel, I've felt literally every emotion on the human carcass scale of what you can feel, every opposite end of the spectrum for this person. Okay, I'll give you some examples. I've hated this person. I love this person more than human words can convey. I have felt rage and I have felt peace. I've been at peace. I have felt overwhelm about life, emotion, overwhelm, and I have felt apathy, total apathy. I could care less about what's going on, what's happening. Um, I've gone from immense amounts of anxiety to relief and to relaxation, peace. I've gone from, I still dabble between hope and doubt, those ends of the spectrum of hoping and believing and feeling, having the faith in this process and doubt that it's all for freaking nothing. And then another good one is contempt of just utter distaste and displeasure, and empathy and understanding and open-heartedness. So yeah, you can and you probably will feel every single thing you can feel under the sun about your person and about this journey overall. And that's okay, because at least in my experience, I feel like that's what I was born to do. I was born to be an alchemist in the sense of processing emotions, feeling the feels, especially y'all out there who don't want to feel your feels, like my twin included. Not a great feeler, doesn't do feelings. Okay, so it is. I feel like I came down here with the purpose of transmuting those things, turning those things into something productive. Something to keep in mind that I heard the other day that was really fruitful is, and feelings are energy in motion. Emotions, feelings in motion. Okay, emotions are energy in motion. Okay, so when you feel the feels, you're moving things around, even if it's freaking painful. You're doing something. Feeling nothing is stagnation. And so I guess to me, I've come to the acceptance that I would rather feel all of these incredibly crazy, raging feelings of anger and bitterness and frustration and love and intensity and passion and all the things, because at least that means I'm doing something. My humanity, and my soul in this human carcass is doing something. Okay? So hopefully that helps you in if you're experiencing any one of those arrays of spectrums. Number 6, I became really secretive and isolated about this process because I was so ashamed of what my life looked like on the outside. Even just mentioning this to a few people in my life, friends, family, whatever, they looked at me like I was absolutely crazy. My twin included. I mentioned it once, and he was not about to have it. So I became so isolated and so secretive in my life and what was going on, and I basically tried not to share my life with anyone. And I still do to certain extents, and I'm working my way out of that because you have to process the shame and the guilt and the judgment you feel from other people about, well, if you're going to break up and get back together with a person 7 times, what's wrong with you? What are you doing? That's not what healthy people do. I mean, friends and family especially just look at me like, you're absolutely crazy. You're making a hot mess of yourself and you can and should do better. And yes, it really does look like that. It does look like from the outside looking in, my life looks like a comedy sitcom reality show of how many things I've lost and gained and come and gone, and that's without the narrative of how I'm feeling inside. So something I've gone through and I'm still transitioning out of is the isolation due to the judgment and the shame I felt about what this journey looks like to other people, especially regardless of the fact that they can't understand. There are so many people that are just not going to understand this journey. So I'll hope somebody will hear this when I say don't waste your time talking a whole lot about it to people that can't resonate with you on that subject. Don't bother. Don't bother. You're wasting your time and you're asking for judgment. But when you can work your way out of it, you move into embracing yourself and accepting yourself and identifying and being okay with that. That's a part of who you are. And so that's kind of the part of this channel that I'm really loving, is that I finally get to talk about it. And regardless of the fact that no one else in my life resonates with this concept, maybe somebody out there will. Great. Thank you so much for hearing me. Thank you. You listening to me talk about twin flames is so healing to me, in the fact that somebody actually might want to hear about it, that I can't thank you enough. Number 7, I had to lose everything and get my life turned upside down, start over from what looks like scratch multiple times over. I lost jobs, I lost family and friends over this, money. Obviously, marriage and divorce is very expensive. Homes, I've moved in and out. I've moved, God, in and out 7 or 8. I had many different locations. Just even in the last 5 years, I feel like moving is the bane of my existence. But the point of all of that is that when your life gets shaken up like that and everything tossles and turns and you lose everything multiple times over, only what is meant for you can stick. And as crappy as that feels every single freaking time, what I've started to identify is that what sticks is truly for me, as well as what I want to be, who I am, my identity of Lux starts to frame. I had to lose a lot of things and a lot of people and a lot of areas of my life that I was just holding on to because I thought I should, not because I actually wanted to or because they were actually me, who I am. So the fact that, my life has been turned upside down multiple times over now, and this twin flame train still wants to stick with me, and it's just kind of clearer and clearer as I go. No, there's no getting rid of this. It's who I am. And I understand that regardless of the fact that twin is no longer around, doesn't want to be at this point, I am who I am, and I don't need my twin to be a twin. That's a huge one to remember. You don't need your twin to be a twin. And so I'm finally in the place in my life where I'm okay with that being a part of my identity, and that's how I want to share it, regardless of if I ever see him again. Number 8, I learned to embrace, that was number 8. I kind of bled over there and there. Okay, so number 7 was losing everything and shaking everything out of your life that isn't meant to stay and that isn't you. Number 8 was you don't need your twin to be a twin, because it's not a half plus a half. Having a twin does not mean you're two halves that need to make a whole. It is whole me plus whole him, maybe together, maybe not, doesn't matter. I'm me. I get to go be me. I get to have my own human carcass experience, the soul in a human body thing. It's doing its own thing regardless of whatever twin is doing. So yes, it's not half plus half equals whole. That was another big one that you may need to hear 1,000 times before you actually believe it. Number 9, I had to listen to, here we go again, I had to listen to the same advice many, many times over before it sunk in. So for example, when people say, it's a journey, it's a process, it's about you, it's not about them, it's not about union. There were so many thousands of times when I would take in hours and hours of content, searching, sifting, trying to get relief, trying to get understanding of what I was going through. And I had to hear those same pieces of advice many times over before I truly got to a place where I believed it and then could embody it and then could live it. So don't beat yourself up if you're taking in all these different content sources and they're saying the same things and you're like, yeah, but I don't want to do this and I don't want to go through that and I want you're gonna do all those things. It's likely, and just know that it's okay if it takes 1,001 times before you really believe things like it's a journey without a destination, and it's 1 plus 1, not half plus half, and it's not about them, it's about you, yada, yada, yada. Just keep listening, just keep taking in the content because at some point you'll agree. You'll agree, you'll believe it. And I believe that for you because I'm here telling it to you too. Number 10, my favorite part. I've grown into the strongest woman I know, and I am the person I'm most proud of in life. And that is not something I've ever been able to say with a true, deep, genuine peace and satisfaction, not from an egoic place, not from a cocky place, not from an accomplishment place, because right now we're in the middle of Hot Mess Express chapter again, where my life is getting turned upside down again. But it's okay because I'm handling it with more grace, beauty, forgiveness, strength than I ever have, let alone anyone else I know that would be in even a remotely similar situation. So I have become my own Mrs. Invincible. And it finally feels like it. And it finally feels good to be okay amidst the chaos. So I'm proud of me. And I hope that you get to a place someday where you're like, holy crap, I'm one freaking awesome person. I'm somebody to be proud of. And I'm freaking proud of me because I'm here doing it. I'm still doing it. I'm getting through it. I got through a lot of those things. And I'm a kick ass person because of it. And I'm happy that this is who I am now. And this is what has become of me from it. So I genuinely hope that this little list, this little intro list of 10 things that happened to me along my twin flame train journey was enlightening and interesting and comical and relatable to you. And I can't wait to do lots more videos on this experience, this topic, some advice I would give, so that hopefully your ride is a little less bumpy than mine because holy shit, it has not been fun and cake all the time. So thank you again for listening. I'm Lux, and this is Enlightenment. Keep seeking, keep softening, keep showing up, and remember the light you're looking for may just be the light you already are.